Well, hi everyone, and welcome to the first in a new style of review for NGR. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reviewing games based on a franchise rather than focusing on a single game. Let me know what you think, let me know if you like it, let me know if I need to tweak anything, and it will become a regular feature going forward. The subject of today's franchise is going to be one of the greatest film trilogies ever made, Back to the Future. Released in 1985, it tells the story of Marty McFly inadvertently getting in the way of his parents' meeting and trying to get them back together. Back to the Future has had a series of games released over the years, and I'm going to let you know whether they're worth trying. If they are worth trying, I'll give you a Great Scott! And if they're not, I'm going to give them a
Wasn't due till Monday.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly, think.
We do have 6 games to get through, so let's get on with it with the first game. The first Back to the Future game was released in 1985 on the MSX. The game takes the characters and put them in a platform setting, which becomes the norm as we move through these games. Your job is to find George and Lorraine and lead them to the dance, and then you move on to the next level. You have to avoid police officers, cars and birds. To do this, you've got to do it within the time set at the bottom of the screen. The game has 9 levels, and on the last stage you have to find Doc, and then you take off in a DeLorean and return home. It's not a bad game, and given the hardware it was on, it's quite passable. The graphics are pretty basic and the music is god awful, but apart from that, it's not so bad. So this one gets a Great Scott! The MSX2 also had a game, Back to the Future The Adventure, released in 1986, but this was basically a walkthrough of the movie split up with digitised pictures, and it gives you choices you have to make to move it on. It's not really a game, so I've not included it in this roundup. The more popular 8-bit systems have gotten out in as well, starting with the original Back to the Future game. Released in 1985, made by Electric Dreams, it was released on the Amstrad, the Spectrum, and this version on the Commodore 64. This is a bit of a strange one. Again, it's a side-on platforming game, and the aim is to solve puzzles and to get George and Lorraine as much time together so they fall in love. This will end up populating the family photo in the bottom right hand of the screen, and if you don't do that, you will disappear. Your life is on the left-hand side of the screen at the bottom. The music isn't bad, it kinda resembles the film, but apart from that, the game was slated when it was released, and with good reason. Don't bother, it's rubbish. So in this case, this game gets a
Wasn't due till Monday.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly, think.
Next up then is Back to the Future 2, and this time we're looking at the Amiga version, although it was released on the ST as well as other 8-bit computers and a Sega Master System. It hit the shops in 1990, and this is split over 5 stages, but take a listen to the theme tune first. Yeah, not bad. The first stage sees Marty use his hoverboard to escape from Griff and his crew whilst avoiding obstacles that come from the film. It's quite a good start so far. Level 2 sees you having to guide Jennifer out of her future self's house while avoiding everybody. It's quite quirky and a fun little distraction. Level 3's got you fighting your way through the streets. Level 4 is a sliding puzzle game, and once you complete that, it's back onto level 5 and it sees you again flying on your hoverboard, avoiding obstacles, but in 1955 this time. This really isn't a bad game. It's quite good actually, so I'd recommend you go out and give it a go. There's lots of different variety in the levels and it'll keep you going for quite some time. So, I suppose this instance, it gets a Great Scott! And next up, it's Back to the Future 3. Again, like the last one, this game was released on the Amiga, the ST, the Commodore 64 and the Spectrum, but this time as well on the Sega Genesis and the Master System. This version we'll be looking at today is on the Amstrad CPC. Released in 1991. Yeah, let's just avoid the music in this version, we'll look over that. Again, it's split over different styles. The first level sees you use your horse to save Doc's girlfriend from falling into the ravine. The graphics are quite good, but this level's stupidly hard, with pinpoint jumping and ducking need to survive. The level switches between a side-on and a top-down view. I'm also not sure about the Ghost Riders in the Sky song that plays in the background, I don't remember that in the film. The second level moves you into the shooting gallery from the film. It's just a case of blasting as many targets as possible in the time limit. Out of all the bits in the film, I don't see why they've made a 3-second section into a full level in a game, but again, I didn't make it. Level 3 sees you throwing frisbees at baddies. Again, it's another section of the film that blinked and you miss it, but to be honest, I got really bored. It just went on and on and on. The levels are too long, the levels are so boring that this definitely is a...
Wasn't due till Monday.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly, think.
Back in 1989, the first Nintendo Entertainment System game based on Back to the Future was released. Now, I mean, first of all, what is this music? And second of all, what the hell is this game based on? I don't remember killing bees and Marty McFly running around. Apparently the music is a speeded up version of The Power of Love. Yeah, of course it is. The premise of the game is you have to collect clock pieces to make sure your picture at the bottom doesn't disappear. I mean, the game is like a cross between Paperboy and Trashman. It's just absolutely awful. Bob Gale, one of the screenwriters of the film, even asked game players not to buy it. This, out of all of them, is very much one of these.
Wasn't due till Monday.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly, think.
The sequel to the first NES game came out and it was Back to the Future Parts 2 and 3, released in 1990. Let's see if this gets any better. At least the music is better, so that's a plus point. Okay, into the game, and I'm expecting good things after this intro. Oh look, the DeLorean makes an appearance for the first time in this rundown. Oh, so does this hamburger thing. And what? What the hell is this? Has this game been fused with Mario? Why are the Koopas running around everywhere? Apparently you have to solve puzzles and look in different rooms to find things, but after seeing these few minutes, I just can't take it seriously as a Back to the Future game. It's definitely deserving of one of these.
Wasn't due till Monday.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly, think.
So by my reckoning, over the 6 games we've looked at, we've got 2 Great Scots and 4 Think McFlys. This tells a story. Back to the Future was and still is a massively popular franchise, and it's a crying shame that the games of the time didn't do the films justice. The games have been released for more modern consoles. Back to the Future the game was released in 2010, and that is a good game, and there is playable characters and they're good dimensions. But it's a shame that the games released round the time of the films didn't live up to the expectations. I am very upset by this, and I suppose...
Bye.
That's the power of love.
But is that the complete story? Well, all I've gone through is the Western releases of the Back to the Future titles. If you delve a little deeper and go into the Japanese market, you'll actually find a game for the Super Nintendo, or the Super Famicom, because it's a Japanese-only release. Super Back to the Future 2 was released in 1993, and have a listen at this music. The game is a side-scrolling 2D platform game, and this is the game that we were crying out for from the middle of the 1980s to the 1990s. This is the game that every Back to the Future fan should play. It's fast, the sound's good, it's a cartoony style which fits in with the game quite well. There's end-of-level baddies, there's all sorts. Just find an emulator or find a Japanese Famicom or a converter and play the game. This is the game every Back to the Future fan should play, and you'll thank me for it. Thanks for watching this look back at games based on franchises. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like this format of doing things, and I'll keep it up. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time on New Game Reviews.